Hello everyone, welcome back. This is going to be a project vlog type thing, which I have not done before, but we'll see how it goes, for the Loon Sweater, or the Loon as it's called. Now, minor problem, today is the 27th of February. Yes, today is the 27th of February. And this knit along started on the 10th of February. So we are in fact quite behind already before we've even started. Not great, but we will persevere. I did also forget to charge my microphone. So we are doing it old school for a moment, and then I will make sure I charge it for the next update. And I believe the knit along finishes in April at some point. So I guess I have about 6 weeks, so not too bad. The Loon Sweater has been having a moment online, but if you're not aware of it, this is what it looks like. And this knit along, or knit loon I should say, does have some exclusive patterns for queer birds. I was going to do the mallard duck. However, the scrap yarn that I have in the colours that are relevant to that kind of didn't work out. I did do a swatch, but I didn't even take a photo because it was so hideous. Yarn was all kind of different weights. So this is, first of all, the main yarn that I have chosen is Gilliatt, and this is the colour that I've chosen for the main colour. It's this emerald forest green kind of colour, which I really, really love. And I do not really have anything in this colour, even though it's one of my favourite colours. And I've chosen the contrast colour. I've just got one ball of it. The colour is Poivre Blanc. And this main emerald green is the colour, not even going to try it. So I had all these random scraps of different colours that would work for the mallard, but this is kind of a Aran weight, and all of the ones I had were kind of DK or even thinner, was not working out, very lumpy, very ugly. So all that is to say, I've just decided to go with the classic loon. The loons will be in the same colour as my main, which will be, this is upside down, the green. Would have been nice to get a black for a third contrast. However, I was kind of not planning on doing the loon initially, so that wouldn't have been particularly in my plans. It's also very expensive, and I don't think I would finish the ball. And the yarn stores in Australia also do not have any black or any other colour that would work in stock. So I've passed on that. I think it's still going to look really good. And I have in fact started. It's all tangled around my headphones, but I have cast on and I've done the German short rows. So that bit is done. I don't even know what way to hold this. You can see I'm actually quite happy with how these turned out. You can't even really see, honestly. Anyway, you don't really need to see. I'm happy with it. The German short rows look good. There are no holes or lumps. It's looking fairly even. The tension's looking good. So that's a huge win. I think the fact that this yarn is a little bit rustic and it's got some fibers on it is covering up my tension problems, which I do tend to have when I'm purling. I do purl. As I knit continental, I do purl a little more loosely than my knits, and there usually is some rowing out happening. If I'm being so honest, I don't really care that much about those kind of tension issues. If I was doing something really delicate and intricate, I would probably be more bothered. Like a stockinette sweater, I just don't really mind if it's a little bit rowing out, but I also don't mind knitting flat. The only thing is that sometimes I do have to take breaks because my carpal tunnel plays up. So this is probably a bit optimistic, but we're going to see how we go. And I'll update you when I have more things to say. I am knitting a size medium. The recommended positive ease for this pattern is 20-30 centimeters, and the size small would probably give you about 15. So I've gone up a size. Doesn't really bother me. Love oversized sweaters. I'm more likely to wear it if it's too big than if it's too small. So I'll update you once I have something more to share, but for now it's just the short rows, and then I need to keep going back and forth to a certain length, and then something interesting will happen. So I'll check back in. All right, so it is the next day and I've actually made quite a bit of progress. So I will show you where I'm up to. It's been a pretty chill Saturday today, and I have not really been up to a whole lot. Went on a quest to collect a sewing cabinet, which I needed because I just got a sewing machine and it kind of folds out and is really modular and handy. So I'm very excited to get stuck into some sewing at some point, but for now we are focusing on knitting. So I got quite a lot done here. So I've done all this with the back yoke and the stockinette, and I've started the colour work. I decided that I'm using ladderback jacquard for this, trying to hold this in a way that makes this possible to see in any way. I've just literally done the heads of the loons, and I'll show you my floats later. That's for later. I am a little bit concerned that this one on the end's looking a little lumpy to me, but the other ones are looking pretty good, so I think I'm just going to let that one be, and if I have to rip it out, so be it, I'll just do that. But I really like the colour combination so far. You can see there. And the reason I chose ladderback jacquard, because even though it creates a thick layer where the ladders are, I just find it's easier for me than catching floats. And also because the contrast colour is darker than the light colour I'm using for the band, I was kind of worried that the dark colour was going to show through too much first catching floats. So that's what I've decided to do. Time is 6:16 p.m. and I am feeling slightly stir crazy because I have pretty much spent the whole day knitting. So I'm going to get out of the house, I'm going to go to the gym before dinner, and maybe I will finish the colour work tonight, but I'm not going to put too much pressure on myself for that because my hand is starting to twinge a little bit. This is my problem. I get too focused on the project that I'm working on and I don't want to stop. And even if I'm doing other things, I'm thinking I'd rather be knitting right now. Then I hurt myself because I don't want to stop working on it. So I'm going to take a break and come back to this later. So I find people really do not like working colour work flat, huh? Personally, I do not think it's that bad. Like, it really does not bother me that much. I can see how with 3 colours it would be annoying trying to coordinate where you should be holding the yarns, but 2 is pretty straightforward, and like, purling just does not bother me. I just don't really care. So this is fine so far. It's moving quickly. My preference is to work with DK weight yarn. I don't like working with really thick yarn as well. This is probably like the thickest that I would go. And it's not my preference, but it is really nice when things work up a little quicker. I'm really liking the yarn so far. It's almost like a little bit tweedy with some of the coloured flecks in it. I don't know if you can really see that. You can kind of see there's some lighter creamy flecks in it, so it is really nice yarn. It feels a little bit scratchy, but not really. I have quite sensitive skin. It's a little bit rustic, but I would honestly put it kind of on the same level as Peer Gynt. That's my assessment so far, but we'll see. I've got this much of a ball of the green left going into the colour work, so it's working up quickly. Feels like the yarn is being eaten, but we've got plenty. It's just I'm not used to things going this quickly. It's really all I've got for now. I'll check back in when I finish the colour work. Hopefully it's okay, but if it is lumpy, I will be ripping it out, so we'll see. Good morning. It is Sunday, the 1st of March. Slightly terrifying that 2026 is going so quickly, but there you go. And I have finished the back panel part here. So I finished the colour work, and I'm going to get some B-roll footage so you can actually see this, but I'm pretty happy with how this has worked out. You can see there that there isn't too much peeking through. So the ladderback jacquard seems to be a success. I do have a couple of bits here and there that have some of the green peeking through, but I don't think it's enough to warrant undoing it. This is how the back's looking with ladderback jacquard. Again, pretty happy with it. I have this bit here where the yarn is broken because my kitten bit it while I was working on it and the yarn broke, but that's okay. We soldier on. I was kind of expecting my hand to be hurting at this point because I have done this in the last 48 hours, which is not at all representative of my usual knitting speed at all, by the way. So please don't assume that I do that all the time because I do not. But I was expecting my hand to be really hurting. It's actually feeling pretty good. I think that's down to the fact that I'm working with 4.5mm needles, and a lot of the time when this hand pain has started, I've been working on 2.5s to 3.5s. So I am very, very happy with that. I feel able to keep going, so I may start on the shoulders today. I do feel like I'm not going to be keeping up this pace by any means. I've got other things I want to work on, and mostly I'm just playing catch up because I've seen people in the Discord group and they joined the front panels and stuff. I know that it's going to take me forever to get through the sleeves in particular because
working with short cables puts a lot of strain on my hands. And also Sleeve Island, it gets pretty boring. So I'll be slowing down at that point. But I feel like I'm just charging through this at the moment. And I'm really, really happy with how the colours look together. I love this colour green. I definitely really like to work with Gilliatt again. This yarn is definitely an indulgence though. It's quite expensive, so I cannot be spending that much money on yarn all the time, but it is really nice for a change. And it's nice to be working with some chunkier, slightly chunkier yarn for a change. Well, this is chunky for me. I typically like the look of smaller stitches, so I do a lot of work 4mm and below so far. That seems to be my preference. I don't like the look of garments that are knit with very large needles, but I shouldn't say that. It does depend on the specific garment. Sometimes it's a statement, but as a general rule, not my thing. After the last couple of days, I feel like this is kind of more achievable, being able to actually get this done. So actually, remember my mic this time. It's not a very expensive microphone, so I don't know how significant the sound quality difference is. So I guess this will be a good point of comparison with the previous footage. But that is all I have to say for now. I'm going to do the shoulders at some point, maybe today or over the next few days, and I will update you when I have something to show or something to say or anything interesting happening. For now, that is all I've got.
Hi, I am back. It has been about a week. It is what is the date? 11th of March, and we have joined in the round. I'm so excited about this. It's looking good. I'll see if I can try it on, but I'm on a very short cable at the moment, so we'll see. But there we go. Got the colour work at the back and at the front, and it's looking a little bit puckered, honestly, but I kind of feel like that's gonna block out because it's pretty minor. My needle stopper has just like flung into the distance, so that's no good, but this is where we are at. Here is the front and the back. I'm pretty happy with this. The fit is feeling pretty good. It's going to be quite oversized, but that's okay. We like it like that. Also, sorry, I forgot to charge my mic again. I'm a mess, I know. This is just going to be going in the round until we get to the bottom of the body. So we'll see how long that takes me. And my doorbell is ringing, so bye. Hello, it is Monday the 6th of April, and about like a week ago, I'm not going to lie, I finished the body of the sweater. So here it is. We're going to ignore the fact that I'm wearing pajama shorts because it's a public holiday. Of course, I'm not going to put real pants on. It's looking pretty good. I'm happy with this length. I'm thinking the Gilliatt won't grow a crazy amount, but like if it does, I can rip back and bring the length up a bit. It's not really a problem. You can have the back view here with the colour work. So I finished this like a week ago, but the reason that I did not update then and start the sleeves is because when I went to get the sleeves needles, I think it's 4.5mm, they were in another project. Why am I just like bending over? Well, this is the only way you can see me, so I'm just going to come up like this. So that was the Dagmar jacket that my needles were in, and I had literally like a third or a quarter of one sleeve and the button band and the neckline left to do on that. So for the uninitiated, I've had my Dagmar jacket on the needles for like 6 months, since August, and I hit a point where I was like, this is getting done now, because it is annoying me having it on the needles, and I simply wish to have it done. I want to wear it. It's getting cool now. Not quite cool enough to wear like a mohair wool sweater, but cool enough where it's like you can entertain the possibility, right? Like you can think, oh, maybe soon. That's what I did. I'm now going to do the neckband now that I've released the 4.5mm from their Dagmar prison, and I will check back in hopefully later. I don't want this to take forever. Now it's just like sleeves, pretty smooth sailing, but sleeves will give me hand pains. I may have to change from the little shorties that I was using for the sleeves and the other one to Magic Loop anyway. So I really may have just, you know what, I'm not going to say I finished the Dagmar for nothing, because it needed to get done and I love it. But all that is to say that the way I've gone about this was perhaps quite pointless. But anyway, I will catch you later. Bye. Hi. So it is Friday the 10th of April.
They're not on schedule. However, a couple of things have happened. So I finished the whole body, obviously. The neckline is a problem. I picked up exactly the number of stitches that the pattern said to. However, this is way too wide. So I am going to have to redo the neckline. That's okay. It's a bit annoying, but it's not too bad. It won't take that long to redo. But yeah, definitely I'm going to cut off maybe 12 stitches from the pickup. Famously, neckline pickups do not work that well for me. I always end up having a wide neckline. This happens pretty much every time I do a sweater, so it's fine. I have to redo that. I finished one arm, and I decided to just do a little white stripe on the end here for a little detail. I thought it would be fun, and we're sitting kind of like there. What else? Oh, usually when I do sleeves, I complain about my carpal tunnel all the time because it is a hindrance and it is annoying. But sleeves, particularly, I've discovered are the problem for me. Working on shorties on a really small cable cramps my hands to the point where I'm in pain after like 1 or 2 rows, and after I do it, I'm kind of expecting like 3 days afterwards I'm not going to be able to knit at all because my hands are in so much pain. Compression gloves help a little bit, but not as much as I would like. However, let me grab this. I saw this tip on TikTok that I don't know who it was specifically, but oh my god, it's changed the game for me. So I've got one shorty on one side and then one regular needle on the right hand side, and when I say that this is revolutionized, I'm still getting a tiny bit of hand pain if I am knitting for a long time. However, I knit this sleeve in like 2 days, which is pretty much unheard of for me. So I am very excited about this. This is genius. This is genius. If you have the same problem, please try it. I'm sure maybe this is common knowledge at this point, but to me, this is brand new and I am stoked about it. Thank you to people on TikTok for posting this hint because actually changed the game. I just need to do this other sleeve. I imagine that that'll be done in like 2 or 3 days. So it's Friday at the moment. Over the weekend, I should be able to get that done, although I do have quite a bit on. I'm going to a friend's for some lunch with a group of people, and on Sunday, I am helping my friend to go and pick up a rescue cat. She's adopting one. She and her partner are adopting a new cat, and I am so excited. She's the cutest little tabby. And like, I may sound like a really good person being like, oh, I'll drive you to that side of town because they don't have a car. But I really just want to meet a cat. I want to meet a cat. I love meeting cats. What else has been going on? I cut my own hair. I cut like this much of my hair. And I also did my bangs. Doesn't look great right now because it's not styled, but I kind of crushed it. Like, I got the length really even, and I just literally bought a cheap pair of hair scissors. I'm not a heathen. I didn't use like kitchen scissors or my fabric scissors, okay? I did buy like a pair of hairdressing shears for like $15, and why spend $100 going to the hairdresser when I can just do it myself? So, okay, I'm gonna go and do this sleeve and redo this collar situation and hopefully resolve it, and I will be back with you at some point very soon. Hi, we're back. We're in my bathroom. You can't really see my face actually because I'm talking into it, but here's the problem. I redid the neck and it still looks stupid. Like, is it still too big? Why is it poking up like that? I'm really not understanding what the problem is. So I'm going to do what anyone does when they're having multiple problems, and I'm gonna go on Reddit and try and work out what is, I cut off 12 in the increase. Did I just not make it thick enough? But I feel like then it's just gonna keep sticking up that way. Help. I hate collars. I hate collars. Ugh. Let's just appreciate how goofy this looks. I am honestly thinking at this point, I'm gonna give it one more try, and if I cannot get it right, I am going to just do a regular neckline and not
a folded one because I'm about to crash out. I am about to crash out over this.
Hi. So I am living in a state of complete and utter chaos at the moment, as you may be able to see. I've got stuff everywhere. I've got a new knitting project that is just creating chaos. My wardrobe is open because there is a cat in there. So we've adopted a new rescue cat. His name is Cosmo. We've had him for just over a week now, but today is Thursday the 23rd of April. We've had him since last Wednesday, and he is very, very shy. He still is not really coming out at all, except at night time. But if you look at him too long, he will run back in. If you try and pat him, he hisses at you. So he's just very, very shy. He's 2 years old. Sometimes that's just cats. The rescues can be very shy, and we just have to be patient. But the good news is I have finished the Loon Sweater. I've got both sleeves done. This is what we're doing for length at the moment. This is how we're going. It's pretty good, honestly. I am very happy with it. Now, the only thing is this neckline. I don't know if you can see how high it is at the back. It's kind of doing this. I don't really know why that's happening. It's just a regular 1x1 rib collar. When you last saw me, I was finding demons over getting the folded collar right, and I was completely unsuccessful in trying to make that work. I tried cutting down the stitches significantly, and by try 4, I was just over it. It just looked ridiculous. It was still poking up. I think I have a photo of the last attempt. So I cracked it, and I sized the needles down, because in the original pattern, it calls for keeping the same needle size, the 4.5 millimeters. I decided I'm not doing that. I decided I'd had enough, and I just went by the pickup rate specified in the pattern, and I used 4mm needles instead of 4.5, and that worked fine, except for the fact that there is just like this weird raised bit at the back that you kind of have to yank down. I don't really know why that is. I think it's kind of because of the shape of the neckline, and I think it's meant to be like accommodating for a folded neckline, but please don't quote me on that. I'm not sure why that's happening, but yes, it is done. I just need to weave in all these ends that are happening and block it, and then I will come back and show you what it looks like. I ended up not being too late finishing this in the end. I was expecting to miss the April date by quite a lot. I think I only missed it by like a week or 2, so I'm feeling pretty good because this is the 3rd project that I finished this month, and some of those have been on their needles for months and months, so I am very happy with that. I will stop yammering on now. Also, I'm getting very toasty because it is 25 degrees today, and this Aran weight wool is not doing it for me, so I'm gonna go block, and I'll see you soon. Hello. So it is Tuesday the 5th of May. So it has taken me approximately 800 years to weave in the ends for this thing, but I'm just checking in for a pre-block check. I really need a taller, I'm realizing rapidly that I need a taller tripod, but like, it's fine. This is how it is looking pre-blocking. I am very happy with this. I'm hoping it doesn't grow too much, because it is pretty good at the moment. I could probably go a bit more length on the sleeves, would be totally fine, but the length is pretty good. So this is what it's like pre-blocking. I've got to do a little spin for you. And I'll get this in its little wool wash, and I will let you know when it's finally done, and I can give my wholesale roundup of how I'm feeling about it. Looking at myself on the screen, I have usually just wear a really simple septum ring, but I put this like fancier one in, and it is really just not something I'm used to, so I keep doing double takes when I see myself. But I'm just trying to see if I vibe with it, because I feel like a lot of fancier septum jewelry, it looks a bit too big for my face, but I can't size down because then it won't close around my nose. So anyway, that's besides the point. I will block this and check back in. Huge news, folks. The Loon Sweater is finally done. It's finally dry. It came off the blocking mats this morning, And I am so happy with it. This is the final product. Right. See here. One of my cats did kind of pull a stitch just here that you can see, but she didn't break the yarn though. So I just kind of yanked the stitches around it to sort of maneuver it back into position. But I am really happy with this. And the Gilliatt is glorious. It is so soft. It feels, I am wearing a long sleeve shirt under this, but I'm not feeling itchiness or even scratchiness next to skin. It just feels mwah, so comfortable. If you have the budget for it, I highly recommend Gilliatt. It is wonderful yarn. I don't know how much I've said previously because it's been a while since I started this vlog, but yeah, it is a bit thicker than I usually like because I really like a DK weight yarn, but this is kind of like, maybe I will knit something else in it at some point because it's very soft, wonderful quality. Not many manufacturer's knots at all throughout the entire project. I made a couple of changes to the pattern. I put these little stripes on the cuffs because I thought it would be cute. So I popped those in. I think that's three rows that I did. So I did 3, 3, 3 with the green, white, green. And this collar here, as you can see, this is not a double folded collar. And the reason for that is that I could not get that folded collar to work. I kept decreasing the number of stitches that I was picking up to well below the number specified in the pattern, and I could not make it work. So I ended up just doing a modification. So I picked up 2 for every 3 stitches around the whole thing, and just did regular 1x1 ribbing in a needle size down instead of using the same size as the most of this pattern calls for 1 needle size for the entire thing, so you typically don't size down with the ribbing. I kind of see the purpose of that because you can see it doesn't cinch in too much on the bottom. It just flows out and is nice and boxy. I could have probably sized down in this, to be honest. This is a medium, but it is very comfy, cozy, and it's like a very comfy oversized fit, so I'm not mad about it. I just love a drop shoulder. Didn't really have any issues with the pattern aside from that neckline, but I am not convinced it's not a me problem. I have always struggled with folded collars in the past. I struggled with the porcelain sweater, and I struggled again here. So I do think that I'm going to have to look up some instructional videos to see if I'm actually doing something wrong, because yes, so that's the final reveal. I hope you enjoyed coming along with me. In the future, I think I'm definitely going to do more of these vlogs. I had a really good time, and I think it is actually quite valuable for me to record my process so that I can remember what I did and refer back. I'm notoriously not very good at writing these things down on Ravelry, which I'm really trying to be better at, but it's just hard for me to remember to do these things. Ravelry I very much use as a pattern encyclopedia, but I need to be using it more as a self-reference tool. Can be incredibly helpful, especially if you're making the same project again. It can be really good to have that information of modifications that you made to look back on. And there are multiple occasions where people's modifications that they've talked about on Ravelry have helped me with a project, so I should really be paying it forward. So this is my vow that I will try and use my Ravelry more often. I have linked it in the description, and I also have my Instagram there that I use for my knitting, so if you are interested at all in following my day-to-day knitting adventures, shall we say, although I'm usually in my house, but you know, if you enjoyed this and you'd like to see more of my vlogs and talking about nothing, feel free to subscribe to my channel or give this video a like if you liked it. Constructive criticism is welcome. If there's anything particular you'd like me to talk about when I'm going through my projects or any questions you have, run it by me, feel free. And if you didn't like this, try to be nice about it or it will hurt my feelings. Okie dokie, I will see you in the not so distant future. Bye.